you don't know how toilets work. This thing you use every single day, hopefully, you know almost nothing about, even though you may think you do. I guarantee it. Well, actually, I don't guarantee it. Maybe a plumber's watching, or maybe you actually do know how a toilet works. But chances are, you may think you know how a toilet works, but you actually don't. Let's talk to some people, and I recommend you two answer my questions as we go. Hey guys, I'm here interviewing some people. Let's get technical. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you have no knowledge whatsoever, and 10 being you are like an absolute expert in this, how well do you think you know how a toilet works?
3.
A 3? That's a good answer. It's a solid, it's a solid answer. Rate myself around a 9 or an 8, I think.
That is a 3 for me.
3, 4 maybe?
I'd go with maybe a 2.
3.5.
I give it 4.5 out of 10.
Maybe 3.
3.
5? 5? That's good. Solid answer. Nice. So can you explain to me step by step how a toilet works?
Well, so there's a handle, and you flush it, and it goes through some machinery.
There's a little lever inside of the little box that's behind what you sit on.
Nice.
And then
I just know there's this kind of pipes and like I don't really know much.
So the water washes down into the pipes, right?
There's like pipes going up to the top thing, and then you press the flusher thing, and then the water goes all around, and it flushes the gross stuff out.
It goes all. How does that actually like flush it out? Like that's.
It goes in a pipe. I don't know.
Water comes out into the bowl and like pushes the stuff everything down.
Can you elaborate on that, like the pushing?
I'm not sure.
Or how does the water actually go down?
I can't wait for the next technicality video for that one.
Cool. So now, after explaining that, can you reevaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? How well do you think you know how toilets work?
Like a 6 or 7. Like 2 or 3.
like a 2.
I feel like 2 was maybe pretty accurate, although I might want to decrease to a 1.
I'd put myself on a 1.5.
I don't know. I'm still a 3.
Like 7. I'll give 7.
Yeah.
7. Better than I thought it would.
So I'm gonna say 2 to 3.
Oh, like 1.
1. This is known as the illusion of explanatory depth, the keyword there being explanatory, but we'll get to that later. The illusion of explanatory depth is when people inaccurately overestimate their knowledge in a certain thing. You can see this illusion everywhere because there's so much stuff we use all the time and people know almost nothing about, but they think they do. You could just swap toilets from my previous example and replace them with refrigerators, or zippers, or locks, or bikes, or can openers, or a lot of other things. There's so many things! Leonid Rozenblit and Keil, both Yale psychologists, coined the term back in 2002 with this study, The Misunderstood Limits of Folk Science and Illusion of Explanatory Depth. Hey, quick post-production note. You may have noticed I didn't put in a picture of Mr. Rozenblit, and that's because no picture of him comes up when you Google his name. But John Green's there for some reason, so... Among other things, like doing many tests to prove that this is actually a thing, they outlined 4 factors that contribute to this illusion of explanatory depth. 1. Change blindness, or more specifically, change blindness. Let me explain. This is a bike. You probably already know that, but now, close your eyes. Can you picture a bike? Maybe it looks something like this, or maybe even this. Yeah, none of those designs would actually work as a bike. This is Phil Fernbach. He has a doctorate in cognitive science and is the co-author of The Knowledge Illusion, Why We Never Think Alone.
A psychologist studied this question. He wanted to know, do people know how a bike works? He brought people into the lab. He gave them a simple task. He said, just draw in where the pedals go, draw in where the chain goes, and draw in where the frame goes. I'm going to show you a couple examples of what people came up with. Here's one. Bikes haven't looked like this since the 1920s. Here's another one. If you have teeny tiny legs, I think this might be the bike for you.
Baby legs, here we go!
That clip was from his TED Talk on the subject. Except for that Rick and Morty clip, I added that myself.
I didn't cherry pick these examples. These are good representations of the average level of knowledge about bicycles, despite the fact that we all ride them every single day.
We, as humans, rely very heavily on information that is right in front of us. Quote, when people succeed at solving problems with devices, they may underestimate how much of their understanding lies in relations that are apparent in the object as opposed to being mentally represented. When the bike is right in front of me, well, of course it's a bike, but when we change that, we become blind to the makeup of the bike and blind to the fact that we are blind to the makeup of the bike. Change, blindness. 2. Confusion with layers of explanation. What is this? Let's take my phone for example. How would you explain my cell phone? Well, among other things, you might mention that there is a touchscreen, a speaker, a battery, emojis, and a camera. Okay, so if you're then asked what's a camera, you might mention that there's a lens, a flash, an aperture, etc. Did you see what we just did there? We just delved into two different layers of analysis when it comes to my phone. The first layer is the stuff that makes up my phone, and the second layer is the stuff that makes up that stuff, and so on if we were to continue. A problem arises when we gain a surface layer understanding of something, but then we think we know all the layers, creating the illusion of explanatory depth. Going back to our toilet example, yes, you know that when you press the flushy thing, the water in the tanky thing goes into the bowly thing. But wait, how does the water actually get from the tank to the bowl? Where does all the water in the bowl go? How does the tank know when to stop refilling? And what other parts play a role? These are deeper level questions that you may not be able to answer, but because you know the first layer, your brain thinks, yeah, I know how that works. And this contradiction is a big factor in the illusion of explanatory depth. 3. Murkiness of knowledge. This one kind of builds on the previous point. Remember when I said that the key word in the illusion of explanatory depth is explanatory? That's because this illusion really only works with explanatory knowledge, not with facts or processes or other types of knowledge. It's really easy to know if you know a fact or a process. Do you know how old I am? It's a question in the comments that is very, 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 hey, we done yet? No? Not even close? Cool. Very, 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 very
2,000 years later.
Very, 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 very common. It's a fact, and it's pretty easy to tell if you know it or not. A lot of people don't, apparently. You just ask yourself, how old is Alex? And if your answer is, I don't know, then you don't know. And if your answer is 15, then you know it. Same reasoning goes for processes. For example, do you know how to turn on post notifications for Technicality? If your answer is I don't know, then you don't know, and if your answer is click the little bell right beneath the video, check send me all notifications for this channel, and click save, then you know it. So do that! However, with explanatory knowledge, that ease simply isn't there, and that's because of those layers of explanation we talked about earlier. With processes, you have a clear beginning and an end, and with facts, it's clear if you either know them or if you don't. None of that is true when it comes to explanatory knowledge. Explanations usually, if not always, have no clear ending because there are so many layers of explanation you can get into, and thus it's not clear if you know it or not. And finally, 4. The rarity of explanations. Think about the last time you said a fact or told someone about a process. It probably wasn't too long ago. However, explanations are much more rare. You don't often explain how toilets or bikes or refrigerators work, and that's because you don't really need to. Thus, we have less familiarity with explanations, making us more susceptible to overestimating our own knowledge. Quote from the Rozenblit and Keil Study, although each of these 4 features may be present to some extent with other kinds of knowledge, such as facts or procedures, we claim they converge most strongly with explanations, producing a powerful illusion of knowing. One of the most important takeaways of the illusion of explanatory depth is that recognition does not equal understanding. For example, you may know that this is a computer, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know how it works. And that's okay, right? Like, if my computer ever breaks, I know a guy who can fix it, right? The division of cognitive labor. Many, many years ago, when we switched from a hunting and gathering society to an agriculture society, we also switched to specialization. This means that people who are most helpful to society are people who are really good at one thing, because if we're all really good at one thing, we can all work together to combine those talents. No one needs to know everything, but if they know a lot of people, and collectively those people know almost everything, well, then we're all set. This is the division of cognitive labor. That's why we see kids start to suffer from the illusion of explanatory depth at the same age they learn about which professionals know what, around 3 to 5 years old. At those ages, kids will learn stuff like how a doctor knows how to make you not sick and a farmer knows how to make you not hungry. That is why we can get away with the illusion of explanatory depth. Because we've evolved so that we rely on others, it doesn't hurt us to not be able to explain something. Or does it? See, it's not going to hurt me to not know how a zipper zips stuff, but can the illusion of explanatory depth actually have a pretty big impact? Turns out, yeah. Remember Phil Fernbach from earlier? Well, in that TED Talk, he talks about a study he did where he brought in participants and polled them on certain topical political issues. Stuff that's fairly controversial, like a single-payer healthcare system, emissions tradings, and GMOs. Participants were then asked to explain how each of those things worked, and what Phil and his team found was that people, even if they had extreme passionate views on a certain issue, don't always know how that issue works.
They think they know how these policies work, when in fact they don't. And the attempt to try to explain leads to these drastic reductions in the feeling that they get these things.
Moreover, in another study, they brought in a bunch of people who had all different opinions on GMOs, ranging from they're great and everyone should eat them to they're terrible and no one should eat them, and asked participants to answer this question. True or false, a gene inserted into a food can migrate into the genetic code of humans who consume that food. Now, if you're curious, this is false, but what's interesting is what Phil found.
The people who are most passionate, who are most vociferously opposed to this, are the ones who most strongly hold this false belief. Now, I'm not trying to imply that everybody who's opposed to GMO holds this false belief. What I would implore you to do, though, is to think about it. Think about how much you actually understand about genetic modification. Do you know enough to hold the position that you do as strongly as you do?
Whoa. So the next time you're advocating for a certain view, make sure you ask yourself to explain the topic before you vote or tell the world. You should, quite literally, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Oh, and if you're still curious about how the standard toilet works, the water level is usually low enough so that it doesn't go up and then down this pipe called the trap, but when you press the handle, the piece covering the hole at the bottom of the tank is lifted, allowing the water to go into the main bowl, forcing the water currently in the toilet to go up, in, and down the pipe. That's why you can technically flush a toilet by just pouring water in it. If you enjoyed this video, it's really helpful if you leave a like or share it on social media or Reddit. Thanks for watching, DFTBA, and explore on. I would like to give a huge thank you to this episode's sponsor, Poster Burner. Poster Burner prints phenomenal high-quality posters for a simply great price. I've got 2 of their posters myself, and let me tell you guys, these things look amazing. I took this picture of my adorable dog on my phone, and it looks crazy good on this 11x17 poster. Oh, Mimi big boy. Here's a gorgeous poster of the Technicality logo. Whether you want a big or small poster, whether it be for personal or for business, Poster Burner has got you covered. You know what? I just realized you can put a picture of the symbol for pi on a poster that is 3.14 by 3.14 inches. Wow, that is so cool. Someone should totally do that and tweet a picture of it at me. Go to posterburner.com/technicality to get 10% off your order. You will not be disappointed. If you want to check out another mind-blowing psychology experiment, check out this video on screen right now about how food presentation affects the taste. I make vanilla cake taste like chocolate cake by merely adding brown dye. Click the end card on screen right now to check it out, and if you're new here, click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all my patrons at patreon.com/technicality, more specifically the ones on screen right now. Click the end cards. Okay, cool, thanks, bye!